Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the next episode of Data Analytics Chat, where we discuss the latest trends, challenges happening in the data science and AI world. Today's topic's an interesting one, especially for every business that's looking to encounter to be a data-driven organization. Also, probably you can also build many different teams within your business nowadays. So we're going to discuss building a data team from scratch. And we're going to discuss different areas like identifying talent, establishing a data-driven culture, and also look at, I guess, challenges that businesses face so people can learn from this discussion. It's a crucial topic in today's world because, I guess, like I mentioned, businesses are looking to grow, scale, and I guess within each business nowadays, you've got and many have multiple different products. So it's multiple different teams, and obviously different products and different teams are required. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Spriha Gogia, who's the Senior Director of Data at Ophelia, a healthcare organisation. So welcome, Spriha.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Ben.
Good, it's good to have you on board. So do you want to give a brief introduction to yourself, please?
Yeah, I would be happy to. As you said, I'm currently Senior Director of Data at Ophelia, which is a tech-enabled healthcare services startup focused on treating opioid use disorder. Before this role, I was at another startup where I again helped build the data team from the ground up. And before that, I did the same thing, but at a hospital system. And in overall, I've been in healthcare data analytics for more than 10 years now. And every role I've held has been building data teams from the ground up. When I started my career, I was like the starting analyst. And then I really from there, I'm very excited to talk about this out today.
Brilliant. I guess why this data, and also I guess why did you get into the healthcare sector? I'd be interesting to hear.
Yeah, it's a great question. I started my data journey, honestly, when I started my career as a academic scientist. I did my PhD in biology. And very quickly, I knew that while I enjoyed research, I also wanted to see the impact I made, and I didn't want to be squared away in some kind of lab constantly doing my own research. Who knows if anyone is doing it? So that, and I always enjoy data. That really is what brought me to data. I worked in clinical research for a little bit and then did my master's in epidemiology from Columbia University. And ever since then,
But a lot different now to then when you first started.
yes, very different. I would say one of the earliest jobs I held, there was a lot of Excel wrangling.
Yeah.
And obviously that's days gone in many ways now.
Good. Oh, all right. Brilliant. That's interesting to see. And let's dive into the first question. So I guess obviously you've got good experience with startups, and obviously I guess startups require building teams. What key factors do you consider when deciding to build a data team from scratch?
Yeah, that's such an important question. Why even have a data team to start with, right? Really, I would say that it's about what are the needs of the business. And clearly, even if the business decided to have a data team, it's because they want to measure whether it's their success, whether it's their product and its success, or how they're growing. There are many reasons why a data team is brought into being. And really, when you're starting from the ground up, you want to first understand what are the needs of the business that you're trying to solve. And best way to do that is to talk to everybody around, right? And then make your own priority list of what are the biggest things you think data can tackle to start with and have an impact with. And then that will help you map out 1 year and a 3-year roadmap of how, when you want to grow your team, what are the skills you need, right? For example, in some cases, maybe you have a lot of data already being collected and people understand what is being collected, but they don't know how to convert it or transform it to insights, to actual summaries of people, stories of what's actually going on. In those cases, maybe you need more individuals who are engineers or analytic engineers who can help do that transformation and modeling. Or it could very well be that you actually have pretty well modeled data available, but you don't have analysts who can dive deep and tell you insights. Or maybe, and this has happened in one of my things as well, you have analysts and they're building beautiful dashboards. But what they can't do is they can't connect to make the whole data into a story which is understandable by your business or even your external stakeholders as the case may be. And so that helps you sort of carve out how you want to grow your team because you want to find the right individual which are equipped to answer specifically the questions that the business is asking. I find that starting out, obviously, slow growth is the way to go. You want to do it organically. At the same time, starting, you want to have one project attached to one person. And then, of course, it grows and grows from there. But giving one sort of subject matter and expertise to one person to start seems to be a formula that has worked in general.
Okay. And have you found it difficult to answer the problem? Because I guess a lot of businesses, there's multiple problems, isn't there? Businesses face. Is that a challenge that you, because I guess, like you said, you want to do things, you want to obviously deliver quickly as possible, but you want to get answer the biggest problem first because that's going to be make the most impact. So is that an issue? Has that been a problem? Because especially startup, you've got a million one things to do. So is that been a challenge for you?
I would say it's a challenge. Yes, there is a way to convert it to success though. I think it's about telling your business, hey, you have 5 problems. There is no chance you're going to solve all 5 all at once, right? Help me prioritize what is your number 1 and then what is your number 2. And maybe I can get to 80% of 1 and 50% of 2 in X time. And you work with your stakeholders to figure out really where you want. Bringing impact is absolutely essential. I will say it's a little bit different in data where nothing really ever ends, right? I can give you an answer and you'll say, wait, I want to know more. And then I'll give you that more. And then you'll again want to know more and more. And so a smart leader will also be able to sort of figure out, hey, where is it that we pause on this? We've gone 80%, 90%, depends. And instead prioritize something that we haven't done even 10% of and come back to this when there's more.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then obviously, I mean, hiring's part of my business, and obviously, I know the hurdles, challenges. So, I guess for a startup, how can you make it an attractive proposition for data professionals?
Yeah, that's so important. I've been lucky. I've always worked at mission-driven organizations, and so really, like whenever I'm going to hire someone, I tell them, really, does the mission resonate with? Are you the kind of person who really wants to work in data, but there's the tagline, maybe it's a cliche, data for good. So it's not just working for making money, they all do that. But at the same time, is there passion and motivation outside of just the needs of holding a job? And that works pretty well. I also always sell the idea that really for any manager, success lies in their team. And what I've always seen and known is that the job description is something that's important, right? When I'm going to hire, of course, that's the document I'm going with. But at the end of the day, it's up to the employee to take the job and the role where they want to take it. And that's like something that I'm 100% behind. If somebody comes and tells me that I think this project will bring the business X value, and if I agree with that, I'm 100% supportive of that person taking that project. Of course, it doesn't mean that we're lowering business priorities or needs even, but at the same time, we want to try and match the employees' interests with what's happening at the business. And so that's how I go and sell to the market. But at the same time, I'm watching, are they the right fit for what really the business needs? And is that their interest?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think definitely, since the pandemic, I think people's thoughts have definitely changed. Like they want that impact, they want to contribute to something of worth, and also that get a rewarding feeling. People want to get touched something, like they've delivered something, or they're contributing to a mission, or actually delivery of a project, because you get that element of success. Obviously, hiring for a startup is critical. Any hiring is critical. She's got especially data because there's things move fairly fast. What skills and qualifications would you look out for for your first few hires or for hiring in general for your data team?
Yeah. Again, a very critical piece in building a team. Who do you hire? What do you look for? I think, again, like a little bit dependent, as I said earlier, on what are you trying to achieve? What is your business's first sort of priority that you want to meet? In general, in data, especially when you're starting a team, you want someone who is maybe a jack of all trades, who's not like already decided on which lane, even within data, they want to go to, so that they can take on multiple roles and play wear multiple hats, which is the case in any startup role in general. And that typically aligns more with earlier career individuals because they're willing to try. Really, you want someone who's willing to learn and grow and who's flexible and wants to make them impact with what they're doing. Again, I said this before, but somebody's bought into the vision of the business because, again, they have a pretty good role in measuring where the business is going. And if they're not bought into it, then that sort of leads things astray. And really, like someone who's willing to not just measure, but even go a step further, recommend that, hey, maybe this is another way to try this. So I would say the biggest thing in data, startup or not, is curiosity. Somebody who could go the extra mile to ask questions. And then there are some things that, again, since you asked more than one person, you're hiring, making the first few hires in the team, really you're trying to bring a operation that hopefully you want to scale and grow into a robust organization. So you want to get a personality who is an efficient organizer, who will help you scale your operation. And then this is something that's hard to hire for, but like something you want to watch as you grow your team. You need a very strong culture carrier, right? Somebody who's talking to the business every day and making those relationships. Who's like the glue, not just for your team, but also for your organization. And who comes back and tells you, hey, I think this is something new going on. Maybe we should invest our energy and time into this. And then, of course, I already talked about this, but like the data skills are important. But I think like soft skills are a bigger piece. Of course, data skills are important. Some people come with it. Some people can be trained with those as well. I've had multiple individuals who've come and worked for me and they didn't know something to start with. It could be SQL or they've never built a dashboard before. And then at the end of the day, they're the ones who are churning out beautiful dashboards. So I think some things can be taught, but some of the softer skills are the ones that you want to look out for.
Yeah, no, I think attitude is key because, like you said, if someone's got a technical understanding, like you can pick up tech skills. Because then, if you've got the right attitude to drive, they're going to want to achieve that because no one's going to want to fail at their job. And if they've got the buzz for, say, looking in healthcare data, that's their buzz. They're going to go and learn that as quickly as possible because they want to achieve. But yeah, I do think obviously that's a difficult bit is to judge is getting that right attitude of individual because some people say they want something, but whether they can talk, they talk the talk, but can they walk the walk? I guess the saying, and that's the challenge for business in my opinion. Moving to the next question: what strategies can be employed to ensure that the data team aligns closely with the company's overall business goals?
Yeah, this is paramount, right? Really, as I said, the data team is really the one that tells a business how they're doing. And that means that the data team needs to be very closely aligned with the overall business. There are many ways to do this, but first and foremost, every bigger initiative that is started or by the leadership of the organization, let's say, or even thought about, really data should be brought in at that point. That could be the data leader, it could be an analyst, it varies, and all roles are fine. It really depends on the company culture and how. But at the end of the day, you want to be brought in earlier on so that you can investigate, hey, is this a direction that we want to take? And assuming it is it the way we are thinking about it, is it the right way? Or maybe there's a different path that we can tell through data. It's not maybe not even experimented yet. And we think that maybe that's another investment that can maybe supercharge or turbocharge what we're already thinking of. So really, the point I'm driving here is the role of the data team is, of course, to measure and evolve how the business is doing, but at the same time, get a little bit ahead of the curve and try and guide and lead where the business wants to go. And really, the data team is a centralizing team in many ways where they're seeing different parts of the business, right? Depends what they're working on. And if you have a robust operation, hopefully you're working with many different teams across the organization and can serve as the glue to say, hey, this team seems to be measuring this number in this way, while we have this other team who talks about a similar number but measures it in a very different way. Can we, as the neutral party here, are going to bring this together, right? And tell you, hey, let's use this and then talk the same language between. So really, we're trying to bring cohesion across the entire business and make sure that what we are measuring is agrees with one another. And so we're all like trying to move the business forward rather than getting into each other's way by saying, hey, my number is right or your number is right. And so really like that's where like the business needs to come to data and the data needs to go to the business. So it's like a two-way street. I think team culture, as I already mentioned, is also very important in making sure that you're aligned with the business overall strategies or goals. Assuming, as I said already, you hire the right mix of people, you have those individuals who are willing to speak up and tell you, hey, I think we're making a change here, but maybe this other part of the organization is not even aware yet and should be brought in. And this is where, again, those culture carriers will really help you make that or team work together and really bring everything into cohesion. Yeah, I think those are like biggest.
Okay. And then, because there's always, I'll say it's getting better now. Well, speaking to data leaders and individuals, there's always been the business side and the data tech team side, hasn't there? The separation. How do you get that cohesion together? Because obviously now businesses now are getting flipped upside down, really, because data's carving away. We're transforming businesses completely. So how do you get that cohesion together and I guess understanding? So you need that data literacy, don't you, across the whole business? So how do you get? Is it more sort of peer work, or I mean, is it more like just meetings? How do you feel the best way? How do you get your team all cut together?
Yeah, that's such an important and good question. I think there are many strategies here. Some that I've tried and have worked include cross-functional teams, right? So your team is not just your data team or your tech team, but it's really supporting a larger organization. And so can you structure your overall business to have these kind of cross-functional teams? That's what we do right now at my current role. Again, I should say that everything I say is my own thoughts and not something like my company is asking me to say or any of my organizations. So that's one strategy. Another strategy could be that you have your team members embedded in functional groups that you are supporting, right? That's like what is it called? A hybrid approach in some ways, where you know that you support, let's say, the finance team or the customer success team. And so you want to have this one person who's always attached to that team, and they're the ones who go to their team meetings even and come back and tell you, here's what's going on in that team. And I think we should do ABC or XYZ to solve that need. And that's that I see coming up. And again, this is where the cohesion is important, because if the person who represents customer success also talks to the person who represents finance and also talks to the person who represents marketing, whatever those different functions are, and then they all come together and discuss what's happening. So in many ways, they are starting to now tell you the story of the business. That's one model. The cross-functional team, again, works in a similar way, but again, at the end of the day, comes together and discusses what's happening in the various teams and tries to understand, is this making sense for the overall business, not just for the one specific team that they're a part of.
No, interesting, because I think that's one thing. I think communication is the hardest bit across business. Most businesses should know where they want to go. They've got the end goal. But I think obviously you've got the other impactful bit is like change management, communication. That's where the squiggly line, the challenges come in my opinion. So what challenges have you seen in, I guess, from managing to you sort of building a data team from scratch? And I guess, how can you overcome these?
Yeah, I think there are many common problems. I think the biggest one that you want to deal with, though, to start as a data leader is, first of all, if there wasn't a data team before, then people aren't even aware of what is the power, right? What does it really bring you? And that's when you want to start. You want to talk to everybody that you want to be involved with. And really, that should be all of your business, not just one side. Because you want to, first of all, make yourself heard, but at the same time, hear what is it that each individual, each leader is trying to solve. And then try and bring your data hand and say, hey, I think I can help this team or this individual or this overall cross-functional group, whatever the case may be, in this way, and really supercharge, again, the business in that way. And so when the data team doesn't exist, usually people will find their own ways of getting at the data. There's a lot of manual assumptions on how the business is operating. And so really you want to bring all of that into some kind of automation, or at least some sort of code, so that all the biases that come with doing things manually are reduced. I can tell you I've worked with many leaders who love spreadsheets, and they'll tell you that, oh, I measured this 3 months ago and I know we're doing X. And then I have to be the one who was a bit of them. Yes, at that point, it was X because you measured it in the way of Y. But really, when you go back and measure it, it's going to be Z. And so that's like a challenge. But at the same time, there's a way to spin it to make it more powerful for whoever you're talking to. So you can tell them, hey, I'm creating leverage for you. You don't have to do this manual operation. I'm going to give you an automated way to get this number every month, every week. You tell me the frequency you want. And I've had some people who've told me, I don't know what to do with my time if you're going to solve all this for me. So it's really like about how do you translate what you want to do, but make it attractive to the person who's at the receiving end. Another challenge, I think, is there's a lack of process, especially true in startups, but true for any new team, regardless of startup or not. Specific to the data team, there's a lack of process where people don't even know that, hey, I could actually ask the data team this question. And so teams love to talk about metrics, right? And they'll build up metrics on the fly. They'll tell you, I measured this yesterday, and what did I do? I made up a number because I wanted to just get an answer. And that's great. That works in the moment. That doesn't work ongoing when you want to continue to measure again and again. And you want to make sure that even if you're making assumptions, those assumptions are agreed upon by many other individuals and the organization. And that's really the power of the data team. And that's what you want to sell to you as well as to the overall organization. You don't want people to be measuring things on the fly. You want to have an ongoing way. You want to have a definition. If it's a percentage, you want a numerator and a denominator, and doesn't change over time. And all of these things are what the data team will give you when you invest in it. But again, you need to design process. How does somebody come to you with a request or an ask? Do they understand that it's not going to be solved within a day, right? Maybe some things can be. Maybe we've already solved something. That would be amazing. And that also happens when you have a robust operation. But at least at the start, it may not. And so you really want to start to build that relationship and trust. Okay, I'll get you the answer. I may not get it here tomorrow. It may take me 2 weeks. Maybe it will take me 2 months because this is a lower priority for me. However, I do want to solve this. So it's really building that relationship and that trust. One thing I've noticed in every role I've been at is there is a huge backlog of requests that people have gathered, right? So they might have done that, okay, I'm going to measure this and I'm just going to move on in my life. Or they might have taken the approach of, I'm going to put this for whoever comes in as the data person, I'm going to ask them to do it. And now when you start a new team, you have, I don't know, a list of 50 tickets that are just waiting and you don't know what to do with them. That's a common challenge that I think most data teams, especially those starting out, would face. And there have been situations where we've just thrown out lists. Already have been like, this may have been important 6 months ago, not a priority right now. But again, we probably want to go through the list and make sure that case. There might be some very good ideas in there as well of where you want your data team to focus, or maybe there's a larger project you can think of. Yeah, those are some of the challenges that I can think of.
Okay. No, interesting. Obviously, discussing this with other people, obviously before. So, isn't it? I think. It's good to say. Most people are having similar issues. Which next, if you touched on this before, like bit culture's important. So, I guess how do you form the culture within the data team? I guess what steps can be taken to integrate into existing departments as well?
Yeah, I think culture is important for any company. And then, as I said, a good data team is not working in its own silo, but it's working very closely with the rest of the business, the rest of the stakeholders that they're working with to solve the company's problems. And really, a good data team doesn't just produce insights, but they also talk to the insights in a very cohesive way. And for them to be able to do, they need to know not just what the company is trying to solve, but they also want to understand the company's culture so that they frame it in a way that the company understands. In many cases, the team may even represent the company outside, right? Maybe they go to conferences or events or forums. And again, you want good storytellers who engage with the audience, whoever the audience may be, in a way, in a frame that the audience can understand. So culture plays a huge role in all of these. So again, I've said this again before, but I'll say it again. Really, the data team will only succeed when the business succeeds. And this is why they need to work hand in hand with the rest of the business. And so company culture is a way to find common ground between the entire workforce in the company. And as I said, you really want your team to be talking to everybody in the company, not just your own data team. You could be using your company values or your company mission as a way to bring the teams together. One of the things that we did in one of the roles I was at is we had to name our products, and how we named them was a way to bring the company together. And that it didn't matter, irrelevant at the end of the day, right? It's just something internal that's used, but it's just a way to bring the teams together and make sure that they're talking in the same language and work well together.
Yeah, and I like that. I mean, talking with each other, because I think it's everyone. It's like networking, isn't it? Everyone's on board. Everyone knows what's going on. So it's that the knowledge is key in my opinion. So we start to see starting off is key. So what technology tools are like what important for you in building this data team to start? Is there? I mean, how would you decide what ones to invest in? Because there's so many about, and you'll get salespeople selling you everything.
Absolutely. And this is exactly where, as I said right at the start, this is where things have changed and evolved, right? Ever since I've been working here. It's no longer just Excel, I can tell you. And again, it's dependent on really what are you trying to achieve. Going back to that, like what are the biggest projects, biggest priorities that you see for your team to help the business grow? And each data team relies on a tech stack. Let's go through that first, right? There are so many things that you could be doing with technology. So to start with, maybe you don't even have any data in any kind of relational database. So first, you want to think about how are you pulling the data in, right? And there are so many tools to do that for you. In the old days, we had data stage or these black boxy systems, which would really like you throw some data at it. Has to make sure everything is in a particular format, particular shape, whatever, and then it will spit it out. But really what it's doing is a black box. You don't know what's happening. And at the end of the day, you get some data or appear to be matched anyway. Then there is but now, of course, there are many newer tools to do all of this, where all the ETLing happens automatically and much more easily than it did in the past. Then there are tools for where are you actually storing, right? Which relational database are you using? 10 years ago, they were mostly on-prem or not the cloud databases that we have today. And now it's all about cloud. So it's really about which cloud or on-prem solution do you want? And again, if you're in today's age, you probably will go for a cloud solution. I will quick tangential side story. In one of my roles, it was a big consideration. Like, do we even want to go to the cloud? That was then. Now, of course, I'm using it now. All right. And then from there, you want to think about, okay, how are you analyzing or ingesting all of the data that's in the cloud? You probably are doing some amount of query itself of the database. That will be SQL. And different depending on which cloud database you've invested in, whether it's Snowflake or BigQuery or AWS, or N number. It depends on which tools work best with that. But really, for analysis, you want to use something which is in line with what you're trying to solve. So you want to do like predictive analytics. Are you just thinking about descriptive or summary kind of analytics? Who is your audience? Then at the end of the day, are you just spitting out reports? Are you doing exploratory analysis? Or are you trying to build visualizations? So that's where business intelligence tools come in. All of these different tools that I've described so far, like there are specializations and specialized data professionals you can get with each of these. And again, as I said, in a startup world, you probably want individuals who can flex, who not only think about ETLing, but also think about the end user and in terms of the BI or report that you're building, and is that having the impact that you want from that. So a well-functioning data team will have individuals who are proficient in all of these, of at least one of these. But at the start, again, it depends on your business, right? What do you need? In one of my earlier roles, we had the data already being piped in, but we didn't have somebody to look at it on the other side. So really, we needed to build up the analytics more than the engineering line to start. And so that depends. In some businesses, maybe they don't care about having beautiful dashboards. What they want to know is exploratory. Just tell me, solve this question for me. And then you want somebody who's proficient at either R or Python or SAS or whatever is your analytics tool, which is not going to maybe do that good a job of making something beautiful, but at the end of the day, will get you quicker answers. In a different role, we had to build data products, which we were putting out in the market. And there we cared about not just, is it telling me the right answer, but is it telling it in the right way? Is it beautiful to look at? And in those cases, the BI tool is obviously paramount and most important. There are time when it's BI tools available now. Yeah, so it really depends on like where you want to solve the problem.
Yeah. Now, I like you saying got linked to your objectives, because it just means that you're on the right path, because then you just stay into what you want to achieve. Obviously, we're going back to the LLM boom, right? It's got sidetracked. Thought this would be the new shiny tool that's going to solve all the questions. But really, there's so many different tools out there that maybe would have done it easier or quicker. But yeah, I think it's definitely important to stay aligned to what you're looking to achieve.
I didn't talk about AI enough. AI is definitely the new product on the market, or like products, I should say. And each business is trying to figure out, hey, where do I bring in AI into my tech stack? And absolutely the data team is involved in that decision-making process as well. Not just in considering the tool, but also in using whatever comes out of that tool. In some cases, maybe the data team is leveraging AI itself to solve problems. And which is not reflected in my team either. We look at use AI as well. And every time, especially in the last 2 years, I find these maps of AI tools that are just like ever growing. And I feel like there'll be a new skill set coming up with individuals who are trying to figure out, hey, which is the best AI tool to solve a particular problem? Because there are so many out there now. And a data person can tell you that from a data-driven perspective.
Yeah, I know. You've seen all the maps. Like, there's lots of tools out there, should we say. You're sport with choice now, but I don't know. It's a good thing and a bad thing. A lot more demos. So. But then, obviously, you touched on it a bit earlier. Moving to the next question, obviously, like success of data team. What metrics should be tracked, especially in a startup? It's even more critical, isn't it? Make sure you're on this right path.
Yeah. We go back to the success of the business is tied to data, and data should really be measuring its success with what is the success of the business. That's great. But to your point, what do you measure right at the start for the team itself? It depends. What is the team prioritizing first? Is the team trying to bring in new data to be able to analyze? And so then that could be its own sort of like measure of, did you bring in all the sources that you thought you were? Or did you infuse newer sources from what you already had? What I like to do is really not end there, but more think about what is the impact that we want to achieve with this newer data that we brought in. Maybe it's just doing one type of analysis and then we see that analysis end to end. Or more often than not, it is something that we want to measure ongoing. And I'm putting that in a BI tool of some sort, in which case I'm measuring, hey, who's looking at that BI tool? It's not just, okay, one time I made a dashboard and somebody pulled it up and great, that was the end. No, I want to see that ongoing. Are my users logging in? Are they interacting with the whatever tools or dashboards I've put out there? Are they coming to me with questions? So that could be a little bit qualitative. If somebody's using something, they'll come and tell you that, hey, this thing broke, or I have further questions on this. And so that really tells you whether your team is performing. And I can tell you, I've had people write to me, hey, this dashboard is no longer loading. I tried this morning. And that's great to me. Of course, we'll fix the dashboard if it's broken. But at the end of the day, if somebody's telling you the day it breaks, that means that they're using it daily. And you can look at the data behind the tool to figure out you're looking at it daily. But then if somebody's telling that to you, then that's pretty good indication that they trust the data that you're putting out and they're missing it the minute that it went down. Again, I said this, but you want to use the data team not just for measuring, but for the future, for future growth, right? For de-risking where you want to go. If somebody comes and tells you organically that, hey, I want to change the way my team is doing its business, maybe I want to restructure, or maybe there's a new innovation that we want to bring in, and I want to work with you to figure out how I think this will do in terms of metrics, or what will it change, what will it impact. That again, to me, is a pretty good indicator that there is trust in the work that the data team is doing, and they're bringing us in even before the go in that new direction. And again, as I said, this is the two-way street. You want to build that trust. At the same time, you want to measure that it's actually happening. If it doesn't, then that's not great. You want to build that relationship to the point when it does happen.
No, interesting. Good points. So what, finally to end, what advice would you give to other data leaders building their first data team?
Yeah, I will go back to the idea that really your data team is a way for you to bring the business to whatever its next target or milestone is. And so you want to make sure that you're prioritizing projects and individuals in terms of who you hire based on how the business wants to grow. You want to be careful of the personalities that you bring in, because you want to not just think about, are they skilled, right? That's great. They should be skilled in whatever data professional or, whichever data tool you want them to use. But more important than that, I would say, is, are we fitting into the company culture? Are they going to be those culture barriers for you? Are they going to come and tell you when things are not working, or maybe not working in cohesion, so that you can bring that cohesion? Really, are they invested in where the business wants to go? And like a little bit of harder to understand right at the outset. Really, if you're going to interview someone, if they're not doing a good job of selling themselves, then you're not going to. So, but really, I think a good manager will be able to figure out, if not in the first meeting, then maybe in the second or the third one, if this individual is truly invested in what the company is thinking or wanting to do. And somebody who's not afraid to ask questions. Again, like, could be the individual. It's very important to have that curiosity. And you want to have the right mix of talent to do that. And then, of course, has the right projects.
Yeah, brilliant. No, I completely agree. And I think also you mentioned a lot of good points. Like saying, again, it's come up a lot. Prioritize your key problems. I guess the big impact problem. Obviously, I like the mission-driven company. Obviously, if I'll get end day. Like, I think you want people that there's always a drive to get more people in data, but end day you want people doing something they love and enjoy, and also what they're good at. Because there's no point me trying to wanting to be a footballer when I can't play football. It's just that you're not going to succeed. So you need to get people that aligns their skills, because everyone's got a goal of doing whatever. But if you ain't got the skill, natural ability, you're not going to succeed, are you, really? And then also when you touched on like the culture carrier, I guess that's like the captain, isn't it, of a sports team? Like that gets people going, and that's the driving force, because then that's the glue, isn't it? The team gets everyone going, because like you probably know, it's good days, bad days, and you need that that culture that's going to get through the bad times, isn't it? So yeah, I think you've touched on some really good points. It's been a pleasure having you on, Spriha, and I thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ben. This was a pleasure.
Brilliant. Thank you.